So on the topic of school choice, we, the Philanthropy Roundtable, will be hosting an event in South Carolina in 2 months, or actually a month and a half. And you are going to come and talk about how do we create a great supply of great schools to fulfill the demand of school choice. So can you, you've been in this space for a long time. What do you think about this?
So I take the word philanthropy pretty seriously. So phil, we know, is love. Anthropy is people, so it's for the love of people.
Right.
And for me, education is important, and education is only advanced in America because of philanthropy. Think about Washington, D.C., where we are right now. The first public school system as we know it in D.C. was created in the early 1800s. One of the first contributors was a guy named Thomas Jefferson, who also became the first president of the D.C. board. And so that was an early example of people saying, we have a brand new capital, and we think it's important to have a group of educated citizens. And it was private citizens who invested money, which laid the foundation to what we have today. So we are in the tradition.
Part of our conversation that we're going to have in Charleston is we need to create an excellent supply of private schools in order to fulfill the demand and with opportunity scholarships, tax credits, education savings accounts. How do you think philanthropy can play a role in that space?
So we know in the big picture we have 50 million students who are in public schools, and we've got nearly 8 million more who are in private schools and other alternative settings. Without the private sector, you're not going to have a large supply. We see right now that there's been a decrease in the number of Catholic schools in some urban cities. My Catholic school in Los Angeles was 100 years old. It closed. I know of several more that have closed. Part of it is there's competition with the public sector. But the reality is we on our side of the fence have failed to realize that an investment in a private school isn't an anti-public stand. It's a pro-liberty stand. And the more opportunities that we can open for private schools, particularly through philanthropy and public partnerships, the better and stronger nation will be.
So I'm going to take a little bit step back, sort of on that same topic. The charter school has just, in many ways, because it was a green field, we have private or public schools that were launched without the constraints of a traditional public system. That space has just flourished. We have about 3 million kids that are attending public charter schools. They are really sort of fueling this demand for an alternative option to your traditional neighborhood school. It's increased competition and such. What do you think that the private side, sort of the private school sector, can learn from the charter sector?
So I'm a charter school founder, and I think that they have a role to play. So there are 3 things I think we could learn. Number 1, charter schools are pretty good about marketing. So they go to churches, they go to after-school events, they go to a number of events and said, if you want a good public education, come to our schools. That's number 1. Number 2, they actually highlight how well their students are doing. So the White House every year will highlight the number of blue ribbon schools.
Right.
About a third this year were charters, and guess what? National Charter School Association, Center for Education Reform, and others made sure to highlight those schools. We need to do the same thing for our private schools, whether they're in D.C., Milwaukee, D.C., or Cleveland. Lastly is we've got to show people that private schools are in fact part of our public mission. Unfortunately, we've created a us versus them. If you like public schools, then you'll stay traditional, you won't go charter. But if you go charter, you must not like private education at all. No, every school that works is in the public's interest, and there are a lot of private schools there are, and I think we can do a better job of telling the private school story. Great.
Well, we are so excited that you're going to join us in Charleston. We think you're going to have a lot to say, and we hope that many individuals will catch the vision for creating an excellent supply of private school options for kids.
Well, I also want to thank you for the work that you helped to shepherd on Capitol Hill. I mean, the DC program that we know today wouldn't exist without your support, and then the work that you have supported nationally. So it's been a team effort, and glad to be a part of the process.
So glad. Thanks, friend.
Thanks.